Welcome on the Sonic Jam series. Just trying to get a general overview of these classic Sonic games in general.
We would try to do a playthrough, but
we're not very good at it, honestly.
Yeah, we're not good enough.
Oh.
We're not good enough.
Nope. Just keep failing over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, we played these games as kids, and we weren't really even that good at it then. We just had more time on our hands because we were kids, and we just persevered, and we're actually able to beat these games. You know.
Perfect.
Many of which we just ended up using cheats on, and then we considered we beat them. I don't care if we cheated. There are cheats built into the system. You can unlock, you know, various modes if you go into the sound test, and if you know what you're doing, you know, you can unlock debug mode or level select and other stuff, you know. I'm trying to remember in general, there are a lot of, you know, like the missing content and other extra stuff, especially from Sonic 2 wise, that have recently been unearthed over the years, and people like looking at the original code and previews of the game. That could have easily crushed me there. That should have easily crushed me there too. And that's if we're going to do for this playthrough, at least this episode, is play as far as we can. And until I inevitably lose all of my lives and continues, and then we have to just quit playing altogether. It'll probably happen in this episode.
So, do you have content?
Well, in general, I still like it. I still, you know, have a lot of fond memories playing through various games in the series. Even the bad ones, I try to like trudge through those. And okay, I actually could jump in. I guess if I jump fast enough, I could negate the speed up there. Maybe if I speed up through this, there we go. That's the key. That's the ticket.
Sonic is fast.
Sonic is fast. Sonic can speed through things instead of just flat out running, gunning.
I'm gonna run and I'm gun.
Wait for that.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. You want to mention the one game theory episode where they talked about hit points and how Sonic is sort of unique in his.
That's true. I mean, you know, most characters, especially like, you know, Crash Bandicoot, for example, you have to get like a uku or mask, whatever, I forget what it was called. I think it's like, and you'd only have like 2 hits, and then you'd die. But in a Sonic, you know, as long as you have rings, and you know, even Mario stuff like that, they have, you know, the issues with you know, Super Mario, or if you have like the other power-ups and stuff like that, you know, you only have like 2, maybe 3 power-ups, and then you lose all your lives. You know, you just die for good. But Sonic, you know, as long as he's got a ring, even with just 1 ring like I got right now, I can still be in the game, which is quite helpful. Remember the design of this one? Oh yeah, this is platforms come down, and I had to use them to this crushes slowly. I guess I have to wait a little bit before the platforms show up and just avoid the shots, because I can't jump high enough to hit it. Or if this is just like a cutscene more, and then like, you know, it would eventually shrink the these force fields until they can no longer move, at least not effectively. Wait in the corner, trigger it again. But in general, with like Sonic Boom and some of the other projects coming up, I certainly have more hope in the Sonic franchise than I have in a long while. And I hope Sega of America is able to actually complete this project, unlike what they could do. No! I assumed this
in the wrong direction.
And now it's game over. Okay, well that's our demonstration of Sonic and Knuckles.
Anything else you can subtract from this
disc? I'll go back to the Sonic World and see if there was anything else there. I think there may have been one other section, like if I go to like the Badniks. And unfortunately, it does take a little while to load. Sonic Jam main menu. Sonic World. We can go to the video section again. I can show the Sonic theme park video.
Wee.
Yeah. Because everyone likes videos, right?
Oh wait, sorry, wrong print.
It's Sega Saturn, yes. That's another thing about, in general, the Sega systems were almost all. The Sega 32X was codenamed Mars, and there was also a codenamed Neptune that was supposed to be a Sega 32X and a Genesis in one. But of course, everyone noticed how badly the Sega 32X did, and so they decided not to release that system. There's also a special version of the Saturn which has a built-in net drive. There's actually an adapter that let you have a 56K modem and let you go online with certain games on the Saturn. I forget exactly what it was called, but
which games use the modem? Can you still use them today?
No, you can't use any of them today. All the servers are down. Just like the Dreamcast has a built-in modem and plays games like Alien Front Online and other stuff. And yeah, this concept was, I think, for Universal Studios, I think, theme park, that they were trying to suggest they could have this. A lot of the virtual tour rides where you just sit in a chair and the ride would shake around and stuff like that. Yeah. And there'd just be big visuals on screen. That was the kind of thing they were going for here.
Right. That first part of 3D and this part of 3D is pretty bad, but that middle part there is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Like,
that's kind of curious.
Bounce and this kind of
like
disorienting and whoa.
I know, I'm sick of it. What? I mean, yeah. Actually, this is reminding me a lot of the Sonic 06.
Yeah. To think that the Saturn could produce the same kind of effects as Sonic 06. And this is absolutely a silly thing. They're like, I'm Dr. Robotnik, I have a giant weight, 200-pound weight, and I'm going to drop it on... This is exactly like, the old cartoon Wile E. Coyote kind of thing. Like, whoa. I'm doing a pirouette for some reason, and suddenly the weight just drops down on him. He's like, whoa. Boom. Posed. Dead. Poor Robotnik.
And it said EG on the...
EG, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, we can look at the one. It's like original song. And it's at least interesting because normally we wouldn't be able to see these commercials unless, because back then they didn't have the internet, at least as prevalent as we do today, no YouTube, so there wasn't really an easy way to demonstrate.
No YouTube?
No YouTube, yeah. There was a world before YouTube. Believe it or not, yeah.
Yes.
And so this is an interesting way of seeing how they presented Mega Drive games and the levels we couldn't get to because we're really bad, like Labyrinth Zone. Oh boy. On Sonic Genesis, Labyrinth Zone was practically impossible because you couldn't see where to jump. I mean, and especially when you need to be able to know in advance where all the bubbles are to get help. You get, water, get air bubbles. And you need to know where to jump in order to hit spikes because you can see so little that it's just like, these commercials were questioning because, Tails was first being introduced. And they're like, who's this guy?
What's going on?
Yeah. And apparently there was some contest, too, to either name him or something because I don't know Japanese, but I didn't really do much research in terms of whether they were like a thing of identifying him or doing something else. I guess maybe it's the next commercial that's first introduced. And this one was like after he's been introduced. So it's the next one that was actually mentioned. And once it gets loading, here we go. Load this one.
I love how also almost every time they show his name as being Tails, it's always in quotes because technically
Tails is his
nickname.
Nickname, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Miles Tails per hour. Yes.
Does it really matter?
Here we go.
Why
Who's
can't
this guy?
Tails be his middle
Tell us
name?
who this guy is, and you get these prizes apparently by mailing in to Sega. And the one that they showed there was the Model 1. There were actually like 4 different models of the Sega Genesis.
You don't say.
I don't say, yeah. There was the original one that looked like that with like the side patch, and it also had its own version of the Sega CD that actually set underneath it. They called it in other countries the Mega CD because it was the Mega Drive, so Mega CD. And yeah. And so then there's the version that we have that people are more familiar with. That is a slim line that had like the buttons on the bottom. that we have somewhere around here, like that over there.
Yes.
People can't see, but yeah, it's that design.
Uh-huh.
It's more familiar. Then there was a Genesis 3 that was like half the size of that thing.
Well, and that one had the ability to add the attachments.
The attachments, yeah. I mean,
Second
it
one.
had the standard second edition of the Sega CD, and the 32X could all fit on there. Spinball commercial. And the third one, though, had absolutely no compatibility with any of the previous ones. It was made by a third party, and it sold at least for $50 in like 95, 96. The PlayStation 1 and the Saturn were already out, and people were still trying to push Genesis games.
Come on, Genesis,
And
come
like,
on!
you gotta move on here, because that's
You
just...
already own the games, now have it in a smaller system.
With less compatibility,
Oh.
you know. Even some of the Genesis games, there are ones that, like Virtual Racing, which had a special chip, and it wouldn't work on the newer systems because they didn't have the same compatibility as the older ones.
Okay, and so what about you said there was 4 systems?
The fourth one, is one we have here, is the JVC. Actually, they're split into two models. The JVC XI, which was the licensed JVC, is a combination Genesis Sega CD, and also the CDX, which is the same kind of system, although it was supposed to be also just a general CD player. It actually had like a set for like 2 or 3 AA's. You can pop in CDs and just play audio CDs on the go. Or you can have it hooked up, to a C adapter and play Genesis and Sega CD games.
Uh-huh.
So.
Fascinating.
Although this one's better because it has composite out, and the other one just still had RF, or like the special proprietary cables that Sega was using at the time. So it's a commercial for the Game Gear games, which weren't quite as well received because the Game Gear took like 6 AA's and only lasted for 2 hours, even though it was backlit and had color. It was just big and bulky and ridiculous.
It didn't have a lot.
Yeah, it did too. Yeah, most of them did. We'll just call it for this episode and for our look at Sonic Jam in general. Until next time,